Jackie Chan's action kung fu whirlwind kicked its way onto your NES back in 1990. Seemingly based on name alone, Jackie Chan's action kung fu appears to be nothing more than just a vehicle to put the legendary martial arts movie star into a game about karate kicking fish, frogs, and various other weird things in the face. I guess you can't really fault developer Hudson Soft for wanting to get something out there if they had that exclusive Jackie Chan video game license, but the fact that it was released in the US a full year before it even hit the Asian markets is a bit weird. I mean, most of us kids here in the States had no idea who Jackie Chan even was back in 1990, and even more so, why he was suddenly appearing in a video game. So did Action Kung Fu deliver the fun martial arts action that Jackie Chan was actually known for? Or was this more of a full-on killing blow to anyone that decided to pick it up at the rental store? Well, grab your favorite Jackie Chan DVDs, because we're about to see if Action Kung Fu is worthy of the drunken master himself. Start up Action Kung Fu and you get a brief cinematic showing Jackie Chan walking with his sister through the countryside, only to suddenly be accosted by a sorcerer that teleports Jackie's sister away in the hope that neither would be enough to beat him if they're separated. This causes Jackie to get mad as all heck and runs off to save his sister no matter how many defenseless animals and platforms stand in his way. After you're done cursing that sorcerer guy for being a totally bad dude, then go ahead and press the start button to commence jump kicking your way through ancient China. Get into the game and you're met with exactly what you thought this game would be. An action platformer where you control an oversized Jackie Chan as he makes his way through several stages based on ancient Chinese lore, trying to save his sister in the process. Jackie, being the martial arts master that he is, has a few different moves to make his way through those stages, including a Kung Fu punch as your standard attack, a Kung Fu sweep kick when you're crouching, and a super cool Kung Fu jump kick whenever you attack while jumping. Generally, all of these attacks are more than enough to make your way through the dozens of bad guys and animals standing in Jackie's way, but you also get the benefit of being able to punch helpless frogs for powerful attacks, like spinning whirlwind kicks or rolling back and forth in midair. These can all be used when you press up and attack at the same time, but be careful as each one comes with a limited number of times that they can be used. So keep an eye on your status bar since you may want to save a few for when you need them most. Beyond that, there's not much else to protect you from the waves of baddies coming at you. So get your wits about you, young master. Now that your training's over, it's time to get out there and save your sister. Making your way through the game is about what you'd expect from most NES titles of this type, that being running and jumping your way through each stage while beating the unholy crap out of whatever human, demon, or animal dares stand in Jackie Chan's murderous path. While that's definitely about as standard as things usually get, Action Kung Fu does at least do a nice job of mixing things up with its multi-segmented stages. Every level has a variety of sections that test your fighting reflexes and platforming ability, with some stages going all over the place before you make it to the end. One minute you'll be climbing a massive tower, and then the next part has you riding branches on a river. It generally makes no sense whatsoever, but it at least keeps things from getting stale. And if you're wanting a decent challenge, then Action Kung Fu stages will definitely have you karate chopping your own balls after a while. Things seem tame enough at the start, looking more like baby's first NES game, but things quickly escalate by the third stage with some pretty exact platforming and enemies that just love to be anchored down in the worst possible places. By the time the fourth stage rolls around, you'll probably be low on continues and praying for those poor frogs to vomit up health power-ups at every turn. Bosses of course show up at the end of each stage as well, but most are just giant immobile sprites that shoot or throw a few things at you while you work to get into position to hit their lone weak spot. If you can manage to get to them with an attack power-up and can take more than a few hits with your life meter, then taking them down won't be too hard. Otherwise, you may have a fight on your hands. If you've got Action Kung Fu's Kung Fu mastered though, you shouldn't have too much trouble making your way through this highly enjoyable martial arts platformer. Nothing about Action Kung Fu is super amazing, but it still has a charm to its gameplay that's hard to resist and keeps making you want to try just one more time. Like most kids back in the day, if I wanted to play any new games for my brand spanking new NES, then a trip to the video store was what needed to happen. Of course, even renting a new game could be a huge gamble since we didn't have the internet to check or countless video reviews to watch to see if it was worth our hard-earned $4. All we had was word of mouth and magazines that were usually just trying to sell us on every game, regardless of their quality. Sometimes you just had to go with your gut, and that's ultimately what I did with Jackie Chan's Action Kung Fu. Hell, I'm still still not really sure why I rented it in the first place, because, I mean, the box looks really weird and was based on some Asian guy that I knew nothing about at the time. But for some reason, I took it up to the counter to take home, and I'm really glad I did. What I'm trying to get at is that Jackie Chan's Action Kung Fu is that ultimate unknown surprise game rental to me. Something that has every right to be an absolutely awful game, but somehow turns out to be an awesome memory for just how surprisingly good it turned out to be. And Action Kung Fu is a genuinely great game that's held up well over the years. It's a fun little action platformer that really punches above its weight the whole way through, much like the guy it's named after. Combine that with tight controls, a great soundtrack, and some larger-than-life NES graphics, and you've got a really fun afternoon of NES martial arts in front of you. And at the very least, Jackie Chan should be proud that his name graced this game.